Man, I got these cookies, man. I am I'm gonna leave it right in there. I am Darius. This is Sugarless Crystals, your sugar-free destination of YouTube. Enjoy me. I am so guilt-free. Indulge. Man. Look, I finally, these peanut butter keto cookies of mine down packed. I know it took me somewhere between 7 to 10 times making these cookies, a whole lot of product wasted, to finally figure out what it took to get them properly. You know what? Let's go ahead and dive into the recipe because you gotta have it. You gotta have it. All right, so you're gonna need 1 cup of almond flour into this thing, all right? Next, 3 tablespoons of coconut flour, 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now, that is if you're using salt-free, sugar-free peanut butter, and 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Not baking powder, baking soda. There is a difference, all right? If you don't have any baking soda, you can use baking powder, like, I'm not gonna trip. But I prefer baking soda. Baking powder may produce more of a rise. And with more of a rise, more than likely you're gonna get more of a cake texture. 1/3 cup of monk fruit, or a low carb sweetener of your choice, such as erythritol. You have pure, swerve, but it is granulated. If you use powdered, the results may change. Now, 1/4 cup of peanut butter. Now, this is where my recipe changes everything up. Because everybody else, they use like 3/4 a cup, a whole cup, and this is where I kept running into trouble at. I was using, like, the product, it was getting that stale cookie texture, like, and it still ended up being like that stale cookie texture. It was just too much. The liquid to dry ratio was like ridiculously off, and I could, for the life of me, I could not figure out what was going on. And then I've done it with coconut flour and almond flour, and finally I just brought the 2 flours together. And matter of fact, I actually did it a couple times before, but I wasn't doing it right. 1/4 cup of melted butter, 1 teaspoon of stevia, 1 egg. And I recommend you do the egg at room temperature, because if you toss the egg in cold, it's gonna probably seize the butter up, and you don't wanna do that. And you don't wanna have your butter scorching hot when you put your egg in there, because then you don't wanna cook your egg. Wrap it up with saran wrap and chill the dough for 1 hour. There's a certain thickness to these cookies. So what I want you to do after the dough has been chilled for 1 hour is I want you to pull it back out, grab yourself a cookie scoop, and I want you to double scoop it for each cookie. Now, this is gonna give you 11 cookies total. What you want is you want a thick cookie, because what this is gonna do is gonna provide a soft center with a crunchy outside. If you make them too thin, the entire cookie is gonna be crunchy, because the cook time is around 300 to 325 for roughly 15 to 20 minutes. Now we have cookie out the oven. Since it has almond flour and coconut flour in it, you wanna let your cookies chill. Now, I do prefer them like after they've chilled a little bit, they still have like a little warmth to them, like they taste the best to me at that point. But suppose you're on the go, that's fine, just eat them cool later. They'll be a little different, but they'll still have that same crispy outside texture and a soft, chewy inside. Now, something I struggle with really bad is when it dawned on me, I did think about putting peanut butter powder in there, but I was like, who wants to spend $10 on peanut butter powder just to make a batch of cookies? Like, it's not gonna happen. But peanut butter tends to be what people have laying around the house. How can I forget how strong of a flavor peanut butter is? So I don't need a whole cup. 1/4 cup is more than enough to flavor your flour and your overall cookie with the peanut butter essence. After I figured that out, texture actually came rather easy. The texture kept falling apart because there was so much peanut butter in there. I remember I pulled 1 batch out and like, it just crumbled all the pieces. As soon as I touched it, the cookie was just crumbling. I was so mad. I was so mad. Let me taste the cookie. I probably shouldn't call it a stale cookie. But I don't know, for some reason almond flour and like it just breaks like that to me. It breaks like a stale cookie. If you can see, like that texture, it's actually soft on the inside. And this is cold. I can squeeze it in the middle because the middle is gonna be the softer part, but the outside is crunchy. That's how it's designed. You get a bit of a cooling effect, not much. For someone that hasn't been eating erythritol, yeah, they may get it a bit more. But if you've been eating erythritol, you're probably not even gonna notice it. They have the sweetness. That's another thing I kept running into. They wouldn't have any flavor whatsoever. And I highly recommend that if you don't have any salt in your peanut butter, add salt in there. Now this is the type of peanut butter that I use. It's marinette. You can find it in Walmart. Now I got the organic. This is the bad one. It actually has sugar in it. That probably helped them taste even better. But to be honest, out of 2 tablespoons, it's only 3 grams of net carbs. It's only 3 grams of sugar. So 6 grams spread out across 11 cookies. I don't think that's bad at all. I mean, if you don't want the sugar in there because you feel like it may lead to you cheating, trust me, I understand. But that one actually already has salt in it. The other one I buy, the one I was supposed to get, doesn't have sugar or salt in there. So be mindful of that. I think that's it. Easy recipe to tell you guys. It was not a super easy recipe to make, but I've gave you all my tips. I've described how it tastes. It's great. The best on the internet. Trust me, I've tried. I've looked them out. You've seen it. And I'll put that below. I want to thank the other bloggers because they gave me a direction for where I wanted to go with my peanut butter cookie. Because before, I had no idea. I just knew I wanted it to taste good. So without making those other 3, I wouldn't have had any direction. And those other 3 were your classic ones, and plus the ones I felt like they had something that was special to them. But mine's are better than those. Yeah, trust me, I'm just saying. I had a cheat sheet to go by. Like, you know what I'm saying? I tried theirs before I tasted mine, so. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I am Darius, this is Sugarless Crystals, your sugar-free destination of YouTube. And I'm not a chef. I'm an entertainer. Bye. Man, I got these.